Alright, ladies and gentlemen of the tribe, how the devil are we all doing today? I have got some talking to do today with you, the wonderful people of the tribe. Now, I apologise I didn't manage to jump on this sooner, but I have been away this weekend with Mrs. Scribbles because it was her birthday, so I took her away for the weekend. Aren't I a wonderful boyfriend? No, I am terrible, and she is too good for me. So, there have been some updates to the playtest. Some CG feedback has received, to a certain degree, and they've come back with some revised changes and a couple. It's a whole mess of crap, guys. It's a whole mess of crap, all right? You already know my position on this. You know how I feel about this. But, we have now got some updated numbers, and I've got some issues with those updated numbers, okay? They've given us some context about things. I'm sure if you've watched any of the other playtesters talk about this, then you've probably already seen it. But I've done some actual in-game testing that kind of rubs me the wrong way still. So I think there's still work to be done. All right, so let's talk about it just a little bit. So over here, ladies and gentlemen, we have got the playtest feedback, okay? So we can see, first they didn't like the initial numbers, or they knew we wouldn't like with the official numbers. It was expected. I don't know if that means, hey, we were going to drop these numbers anyway, or is like, we just know people are not going to like this change point blank, I get it. Who would like these changes, okay? Who would like these changes? So they were expecting it. They talk a little bit about some of the data that they've got. I find this data to be incredibly unhelpful, just on a personal basis. They're saying basically, on average, out of all of the last round of GAC, I'm assuming it's across all leagues and all divisions, every single battle, that essentially, on average, the average attacker relic delta, only 3.1% of the time is the average attacker below the defender's average relic levels. Which, I mean, on the surface level, it feels like no way, that can't be true. No way, there's got to be a lot more than 3% of cases where you're attacking below the average relic of the opposing team. But they have the data, so it must be true. Okay, and I mean, sure, they could be lying to us, but to what end, right? It undermines the entire process. There's no point in pretending like this isn't real data. But more importantly, in and of itself, it's just not useful. Right? It's just not useful because let's think about it. How many times in GAC have you had your account and you go up against someone and you're like, oh my god, he's got full Relic 7 and I've only got Relic 3. I'm just not going to bother attacking. So that already impacts the data. It's like you're already not attacking that team because you're below the relic data. So that's going to skew the numbers a little bit in favor here. Now, I get it. There's only certain ways that if they were to go full in contextual based for every different eventuality, how this plays out, it would be a lot longer than one paragraph in a document, I can tell you that. It would take them forever to reach this data, and it's just going to bog down things entirely. And there's just loads of different context where this can be, given more meaningful insights, right? But they've given this very high-level overview. I don't know what the ultimate goal of giving us this information was precisely. It points out that players won't need to bring entire squads up multiple relic levels as they have already invested into some of the members of that squad. Maybe they're trying to suggest it's like, look, on average, you're only going to be, pretty much on par. So if you want to try and gain a benefit, maybe you just need to increase the relic levels of one or two of your characters to try and, get a bonus or be at least on par in terms of relic levels with the enemy. I still don't know how that's particularly useful, but I mean, one thing, it's like going from R3 to R5 is one thing, but going from R7 to R9 is an entirely different kettle of fish. Even doing that for one character is a big level of investment, right? So long story short, I think this is about as useful as a chocolate hammer. It doesn't benefit anybody knowing this information. Okay, so let's talk about now the new changes to both outgoing and incoming damage based on delta. I'm going to get a visual up for this in a second that will be a little bit clearer to see, but I want to go to the context that they say first. While the increase from 95% to 200% damage may look like we are tone deaf, this is actually updating the system to bring parity in the increase and decrease values. We thought it made more sense when splitting out the increase and decrease values to make them the inverse of each other, but as always, we'd love to hear your feedback. For example, if you would take 100 damage but the attacker is 5 relics below you, you now take 34 damage, as you know, we're reducing it by, in this case, 66%. 100 minus 66, 34, makes sense. In the same scenario, if you would normally deal 34 damage to the enemy, you now deal 102, because that 34 multiplied by 200% is basically 3 times that damage, is 102. Okay, I get it, but why are the numbers still so high? Okay, so let's swap this for an easier to read infographic. Okay, so here's the new Relic Delta setup. Red is the old, yellow is this current version. I'm hoping that we can change this, okay? So what this immediately tells me is it immediately shows that CG wants to have some sort of hard cap at where counters just don't work anymore, right? And that Relic 5 difference right now is that hard cap. So that is like Relic 0 going against Relic 5, not going to work, no matter what. Relic 1 versus Relic 6, Relic 2 versus Relic 7, Relic 3 versus Relic 8, Relic 4 versus Relic 9. Not gonna happen. There are some areas where I think that's not necessarily a bad thing. If you look at it in the context of gear, if it wasn't Relic levels, imagine it was like if you took in a Gear 3 character and you were trying to take down a Gear 12 team, you wouldn't expect to win that battle, and maybe that's a good thing. I don't know if that's what they're trying to replicate here with Relic levels. Are Relic levels supposed to be just the next gear level? And the bigger those gaps become, the more severe the difference should be. Sounds a little bit like a problem just in general with how we do Relic stats and stuff, but if that's the impact that they're looking to go for, it's a little bit weird, a little bit funky, right? Secondly, I love the fact that at least my initial feedback was, you can't have 95% damage increase and reduce the damage incoming by 95%. That's ridiculous. You do no damage. We can't have that. So I said halve it at the very least. I said halve it at the very least. And they basically have done that. So, you know, the damage dealt is roughly half of what the damage increase is now. It's a little bit more nuanced than that, but let's just go ahead and call that, right? So 10% more damage, 10% decreased damage. 1 relic difference, 10% less damage, doesn't really matter. Similarly, 17% doesn't matter, right? But these damage numbers are still way too high, in my personal opinion, okay? Because I'm very much a learn by doing kind of guy, right? I learn by doing. And when I go into these various Galactic Challenge battles that's in the playtest area, and I test stupid stuff, right? I expect these bonuses to give no, I don't expect these bonuses to give massive sweeping changes to how those battles work, right? And granted, the enemy is not wearing mods. They haven't got Datacrons. There's no Omicrons active, none of that business. They've got all their Zetas. But if I can take in a full Relic 9 Ewok team, and I can full auto Lord Vader Darkside clones when they're Relic 5, it feels a little iffy. It's a Relic difference of 4, right? So we are taking 50% less damage and we're dealing 100%. We're dealing double damage. Double damage Ewoks apparently just walks Lord Vader on full auto. Like, I didn't lose a unit. That's full Relic 9 Ewoks, all the Zetas, no Omicrons, because they are GAC Omicrons active at the moment, but I don't have them applied in my game, right? That still feels a little bit funky to me. It's like, yeah, sure, it's Relic 9, but you can actually tone it down and I'll talk about small instances there. Like, that doesn't feel bad. Now, the problem, that does feel a little bit iffy, but the problem is, I can take that same Relic 9 Ewok team, and I can get it to work when the enemy team is Relic 6. And I can get it to work when the enemy team is Relic 7. So at just a +2 Relic Delta, where my Ewoks are doing 20% more damage and taking 17% less, I'm still able to hands off the wheel with crappy mods, just full auto a Lord Vader Darkside Clones team. And that doesn't feel right to me. Like that, like even if I had to play that battle manually, granted, I did actually lose units. I lost 2 of my Ewoks doing that. But if a relic difference of 2 takes away any value, well, not even having any value, it takes away the necessity for me to even interact with the game, for me to press the buttons, to think about how is this battle going, what should I be using? No, I can just take in flipping Ewoks and full auto with a 2 relic delta. This damage increase is clearly too much because it's full auto, guys. Full auto, and I lost a couple of units. I did the same thing. I tested Admiral Akbar lead with Princess Leia, Stormtrooper Han, Lando, and Biggs. Did I say that already? Akbar, Biggs, Princess Leia, Lando, and somebody else. Stormtrooper Han, right? They were between R3 and R5, and I took out a full Jabba team, which was at Relic 0. So, you know, we're talking a 3 to 5 Relic Delta. That's still, you know, 50 to 200% more damage, essentially. And this is just full auto with trash mods against Relic 0. And I'm like, these are garbage characters. And I know we're not going to find instances, or we really shouldn't find instances of Relic 0 clones and Relic 0 Lord Vader. There's always going to be a certain level of investment and a certain level of not investment, right? But it just, I can't set up an environment where they've got an R9 Lord Vader and the clones are R5 and see how that works out. I can't test that at this point in time. But just the pure fact that I can take in garbage teams, and it's not even like I have to think about it, it's just hit auto and win, no datacrons, crappy modding. I don't know how this is good for the game. I don't know how this is good for the game because it just completely plucks strategy out of the ether and just burns it. It's like, it doesn't matter what you do because you've got 2 more relic levels. And I know that's probably not going to be the case for every single battle, but right now it still feels too much. It feels too much. And it just gets absurd when you get to relic level 4 and 5. Relic difference 4 and 5. Double damage, triple damage. For some characters, that's going to be a case of, oh, I'll just take solo gas, and turn 1 I'll AoE and the whole enemy team is going to die. And, you know, maybe there's a certain amount of, oh, you should be doing loads of damage, you should be able to survive, but the numbers are too high still. These are too high. I don't think, necessarily speaking, that the damage decrease is that big of a deal. I might be completely wrong with that, but it didn't feel, like, these numbers didn't feel nearly as bad. Like, at the 2 relic difference, I lost 2 Ewoks. Maybe I should have lost more. Granted, they don't have mods on them, they've just got inflated stats at the moment. They've gained like 50 to 70% boost to their stats to make up for the fact that they've got no mods. But this ain't it, CG. This ain't it. These bonuses are still too big. And I don't care if they want to have a hard cutoff, they can have a hard cutoff. If they want to make that Relic 5 be the case of, you're just not winning at this point, we've decided, you know, then fine. Then fine, okay? You know, whatever. I guess that's the barrier to entry now. You have to be within 5 relic levels, otherwise you're not going to win. But we can't have just 0 strategy involved anymore. GAC is going to be so boring. It's going to be so boring because you're just like, oh, it's just fine, guys. I've got a 2 relic delta. I'll just hit auto, and now it doesn't matter. We're going to win. We're gonna win with Ewoks, Jawas, and Admiral Akbar lead. No. So at this point, my current feedback to CG is we need to turn these numbers down more. This is not. This can't be it. It can't be it. No.